Hello, everybody! Woohoo! It's me, Shannon LaBrugere. I am live and loving it tonight. It is Sunday, November 17th, 2019, and I just got back from Walt Disney World, Mickey Mouse's very merry Christmas party, and it was awesome. In case you've never been to Walt Disney World, it is a sight to behold at the holidays, just let me say. So I had a great little short trip to Florida, and now I'm back here in nice, freezing cold Michigan. It's great to be here with you, though. I am so glad you jumped on. Barbara, I'm glad you're here. Paul, I'm glad you're here. Let me see, I missed somebody who was just... Jason, I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys for being here. I am super excited to share with you what I've been mulling over for the last week or so. I really loved a lot of the input I got last week from people regarding the difference between making a decision and being committed, right? That decision is the thing that happens up here. The being committed is the action piece. And we're going to start building on that tonight. So I hope you're ready. Hope you've got your pen ready. Take some notes. If you have ever wanted to be promoted, I am going to give you 3 absolutely crucial tips. And before I get started, let me just say this. There are a lot of ways to be promoted. Some of them are that you get a new position, a new title, right? Maybe a new hat. You get a badge that says, super important person. That's one way to get promoted. You get a raise, right? And nobody's turning down the raise. I know that. So that's one way to get promoted. But there are other ways to get promoted too. Hi, Paul. I'm glad you're here. And Dawn, yay! Glad to have you with us live tonight. There are more than one way. There are more ways than one to look at getting promoted. One of them is to get that title, right? To get that badge, to get that promotion that gives you the raise your boss says. But there's other areas in life that we would love to expand our influence, right? That we wish we had just a little more to say, that we had a little bit more input on the decisions that are being made. Maybe it's in a volunteer role at your church or at your school. You'd like to be promoted not because you're going to get a raise or a better title, but because you want your impact to expand. Marie, I'm so glad you're here. We're talking a little bit about this idea of being promoted. So if you don't work for somebody, if you don't have any plans to get to a higher level of responsibility in your organization where you work perhaps, I want you to consider what we talk about tonight as a way for you to be able to expand your influence in any arena that you wish you had a little more clout, that you wish that people were hearing you. So when I'm talking about getting a promotion, I don't want you to rule yourself out if you don't have a job working at a company. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're a freelancer, whatever you may be, there are areas in all of our lives where we wish we had more influence, that we would have a higher level of impact, and we would like to be promoted into that level of trust. So that's how we're going to talk about being promoted tonight. It applies in so many areas. I know you will find a way to apply it in yours. So we're going to get started. All right. So the title of tonight's Sunday Night Live, helping you thrive in change. The change you want and the change you don't want. Tonight we're talking about those changes we want. How can we thrive and get what we want? How to get promoted. Step 1. Understand what is important to your boss. This is critical. Understand what is important to your boss, or the person that you want to listen to you, the person that you want to have more influence with. What is important to them? Years ago, my first attempt to get promoted within my organization, and I worked in a production facility, right? A processing facility. So I was out on the floor, on the workroom floor in steel-toed boots. For a long time, I drove a forklift. My first attempt to get promoted was to apply for a job as a newsletter editor. Now, when I was in high school and college, I was an award-winning writer for student journalism. I loved journalism. I loved writing. I just knew this was the perfect job for me. And so I showed up at this job interview with a very strong idea about what I wanted to do. And as we went through the interview, it was not apparent to me at the time. In retrospect, I realized what happened. But I went into that interview hoping, praying for a promotion, but I had no idea what they actually wanted. Hey, Dawn, I'm glad you're here. If we want to be promoted, we have to understand what is important to the person who's doing the promoting. When I went into interview for that awesome job to be a newsletter editor, I was not paying attention, and I discovered, in looking back, that I went in with this idea that I was going to change the world, that I was going to be a reporter, I was going to dig deep, I was going to get news for a newsletter. What they really wanted was somebody who could kind of dress up the corporate line, right? It was a corporate newsletter, and love all those hearts. I totally misunderstood what they wanted because I knew very much what I wanted. And we can get stuck in positions that we don't want to be in because we don't take enough time to figure out what does our boss really want. What gets our boss promoted? What makes them look good? What makes our boss look like a superstar? If we can understand what's important to them and follow through and do it, we are going to set ourselves up to be promoted. That may seem like a no-brainer, but I want to encourage you to take a look at yourself. If you've been overlooked for a position that you wanted, hi Teddy, if you've been overlooked for a position that you've wanted, if you have been ignored when your opinions are being voiced, it is very possible it is because you are pushing your agenda and you're not understanding your boss's agenda. What gets your boss promoted is what you need to look at. What gets my boss recognized? What makes them look good? What agenda do they have that I can serve using my skills, my gifts, my abilities? Does that make sense? Not what is my agenda? I want to be a writer. I want to be a news reporter. I want to change the world. The place to do that for me was not in a corporate newsletter, but I didn't realize it. Pat Patterson, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for jumping in. This is the thing. We can be blinded by what we want. We can be blinded by what we want. And we forget to look at what does the company want? What does our boss want? The person who's in charge of promoting us or who has the ability to listen to us, to act on our ideas, that person's agenda is more important. This is all it is. Get some perspective. Take a step up and look at what are they dealing with at this level up here? What problems do they have? What's really important to them? If you can understand what's important to your boss, what gets your boss in trouble when it doesn't happen, what makes your boss look good when it does, this is the stuff that sets you up to be a trusted person that can be promoted. And Pat's giving some thumbs up. Mary Bell Edwards, hi, I'm so glad you're here. And Al, I'm glad you're here as well. You guys are awesome. Thanks for stopping in. We are talking about how to get promoted, and we're not talking about promotion just as getting a bigger title, getting a raise. We're talking about expanding our influence. No matter where we want to expand our influence and have more impact, the first thing we've got to do is understand what's important to the person who's above us, the person who's the boss, the person who's in charge. When we can get their perspective, sets us up to be able to help them, serve them. When we're helping and serving, we are setting ourselves up to be promoted. All right, number 2, find solutions, not problems. It is shocking. I mean, shocking how many people think that the most important thing they can do is come in and point out all the things that are wrong. It is shocking how many people think there is a shortage somehow of people who can find problems and complain. But often when we're trying to get promoted, what we do is we speak up and say, you know what, this is really messed up over here. And you know what, I've noticed that is not working well at all. And we feel all good about it. Jim, I'm glad you're here. Herman, I'm glad you're here. Thanks you guys for jumping on. We get confused when we start looking for the problems and think that's what makes us valuable. People who can find problems are a dime a dozen. I'm going to repeat that. People who can find problems, a dime a dozen. There is no shortage of people who can tell you what's wrong. That's not working, that's not working, that's not working. We hate that. These people are mad. The customers don't like this. Oh, people can point that out all day long and feel so smart, like they've got insight. That is not true insight. I will tell you what is true insight. The person who says, there's a problem over there, but I think this will help. Yep, that is a problem, but I think this will help. If you want to get promoted, find a problem and then find a solution, right? Find a problem, find a solution. People can point out all day long what's wrong. There's another word for those people. They're called complainers. Complainers. They're a dime a dozen. You are not a dime a dozen. You are a person who not only sees a problem, but sees a potential way to solve it. The people who get promoted, Nina, hi, I'm glad you're here. The people who get promoted are not the people who can say what is wrong. They are the people who can say what will fix it. That's a lot more difficult. I'm not going to lie. Some problems are not easy to solve. But if you want to be promoted, if you want to be listened to by people who are at a higher level of influence, if you want to expand your impact, then you need to forget all about identifying everything that's gone wrong. You need to start focusing on one thing and a solution to fix it. Because the people who can fix things are the people who get promoted. The people who are solution-minded, not problem-minded, are the people who become indispensable. For those of you who just jumped in, we're talking about how to get promoted. And when we are talking about promotion, it's not just about getting a raise and getting that title. It is also about being listened to by people who have higher levels of influence, being able to be people of influence in a volunteer organization or in our communities or at our church or in the PTA, places where we wish our voice carried more weight, that we had more impact. That's also promotion. So even if you don't have a boss that's in charge of giving you a raise or giving you a nicer title, even if you're your own boss, you can become a solutions-based person and you will have more impact everywhere you go. You will be promoted. You will be seen as somebody who is capable and competent and who is welcomed into circles. Sometimes you'll even be sought after because you are a solutions-based person. I'm getting some thumbs up, so I know you're getting it. It is so easy to fall into the trap of just being able to say what is wrong. Doctors are super useful when they can tell us what's wrong. You know, doc, my throat's hurting. I have a fever. My head is killing me. And the doctor says, I think you have the flu, Shannon. Okay, what can you do for it? Can you fix this? That's when he's the real hero, right? Thank you, I will take that. We can be solution-based people. If you are not wired to find solutions, if you've got like problem radar, that's all you see, I'm going to tell you right now, tonight, you can decide to become a solutions-based person. And when you do, you are going to become more valuable in the areas where you wish you had more influence, and that includes for your boss. The people who get promoted are not the people who can say what is wrong. They are the people who can say what will fix it. So that's number 2. Number 1 was understand what's important to your boss. What's the big picture for them? What really matters to them? Number 2 is find solutions, not problems. And number 3 is, and this builds on last week, make decisions and take action. Make decisions and take action. I don't care what level you're at in your organization. I don't care if you are the person who dumps the waste baskets. I don't care if you are the person who makes the PowerPoint slides. It does not matter what your role is. You have to be able to take action if you want to have more influence. You have to make a decision and take action. When I was new in my job, like I said, I worked in a processing plant. It was loud, and the phone would ring endlessly. People didn't like to answer the phone. When they did answer the phone, they'd yell into it, "Hello!" because it was loud out there on the workroom floor. It was really loud. So hello! So I made kind of a joke out of it, but I decided that whenever the phone rang, I would answer it quickly. So if I heard the phone ring, by the 3rd ring, I was over at the desk from wherever I was working. I'd run over to the desk, I'd answer the phone, and this is how I would do it. "Hello, you've reached the 010 operation. How may I help you?" I said it with clarity. I said it with sincerity. I said it with a lovely tone of voice. I made a decision that we didn't have to yell at each other when we answered the phone, and that I would be the one who made sure it got answered so that it didn't ring 100 times. I want you to know that the beginning of my career in management in my organization happened because I decided to answer the phone in a professional manner, even though everybody else ignored it and didn't think it made a difference. It did make a difference. We were professionals. We were people who knew how to have a good phone conversation. And I decided I would demonstrate it. And because of that, the plant manager said, "Hey, how would you like a job as a secretary?" And I never looked back. I got promoted and promoted and promoted based on a basic decision that said, I see a problem, nobody's answering the phone. I see a problem, nobody answers the phone, and except for once in a while, and when they do it so rudely that it irritates me, and I'm not even the one they're talking to. And so I decided I would answer the phone, and I took action. That is a small thing. You can decide to solve a small problem, but when you decide, it has massive impact. Pat, I'm glad you like that. You are a decision maker and you are a man of action. So I have no doubt that this resonates with you. And if you've got anything to add, if any of you do, some of you I know are in positions of great influence. If you've got something to add that will help some of the other people who are watching so that they understand, how can I get promoted? How can I get noticed? How can I have more influence? I would love to hear what you'd have to add. I would love it. So feel free to drop it in the comments. There are people who watch this and they make note of it and it changes their life. So share your wisdom, please. All right, make decisions and take action. Why is this so important? It is important because the people who are in charge of promoting others are results-based people. They are not process-based people, although processes are important, and this is good for us to understand. Some people are wired to love the journey, and some people are wired to love the destination. What are the results? What's going to happen when I do it? I'm one of those people who is naturally wired to appreciate the journey and not naturally be as concerned about the results. I have learned to be very results oriented, but I've had to make a distinct choice to do it. So if you're one of the people that really enjoys the journey and like the whole process of what's happening, you're not as concerned of what the outcome is, just know that if you want to be promoted, 9 times out of 10, the person doing the promoting is actually wanting results. They don't just want to know that you spent 8 hours working on a report. They want to know what is the output, what is valuable from it. So when we make decisions and take actions, those actions bring results. And people who are in positions of influence are results oriented, or they wouldn't be there. They can't be in charge of a company if the company doesn't get results, if it's got terrible figures, if it doesn't serve people well. Find where you can make a decision, take action, solve a problem, get a result. And when you get a result, you will be noticed. This is important. I want you to pay attention to this one little thing. Take action to solve a problem, not action to serve yourself. It is very tempting to take action that make us look good, that make us feel better, that put us in a spotlight. But us being in a spotlight is not a result. It's not a result that matters to your boss. And depending on how your boss is wired, you being in the spotlight may mean nothing to her. In fact, she may not like it that much. Don't know. You might have worked for a boss like that. I've worked for one or two that way. It doesn't matter, because when you are a solution-based person who will make a decision and take action, the results you get will be welcomed by your boss because it contributes to their results. Are you seeing how that all fits in? We can't make our choices to take action at work based on what makes us feel better or what makes us look good. They have to be actions that promote a solution that solves a problem. When we solve problems, we elevate our influence. Even if we never get a title, we start being seen as the person who can be depended on to solve a problem, not just point it out. So important. Action brings results. Have you heard that phrase that says, ask for forgiveness, not permission? How many of you have heard that? You can give me a thumbs up. They'll trickle in, I know, but I'd love to know if you've heard that phrase, ask for forgiveness, not permission. I used to think that was terrible. Like, that is a terrible way to do things. We need to follow the rules. We need to make sure everything's, just in line. I want step by step by step. I very much loved that process of making sure everything was just right before I took action. This is the thing. People who are in positions of influence are people who ask for forgiveness, not permission. They ask for forgiveness, not permission. They take action, meaningful action. And please do not leave this Sunday Night Live session and think, Shannon told me I should just go and do things. No, you need to do things with the intent of solving a problem. When you take action to solve a problem, even if it doesn't work, it was a decision made that allows you to get a result and make another decision. Donna, I'm glad you're here. And I love the thumbs up. Thank you. Ask for forgiveness, not permission, is one way, not the only way, but it is one way that you can expand your influence. Because it turns out that leaders at high level respect confidence more than they respect competence. Confidence that ability to make a decision and take an action is a far more appreciated quality than somebody who's highly competent and always does the right thing. That might feel counterintuitive to us, but it is the truth. Leaders, people of influence, need to be able to make a decision. And if we wait too long to make decisions, if we look at that problem and we take forever to come up with some kind of a solution, our opportunity is gone. Somebody else steps in, or it's no longer an issue, and we didn't act. For us to get promoted, we have to do these 3 things. We have to understand what's important to our boss or the person who's promoting us. We have to find solutions, not problems. Anybody can find a problem. It takes a special person to make a solution. That's you. And then the third thing is to make a decision and then take action on it. Shani Sean, I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're jumping on. And Carol, I'm glad you're here as well. I know you popped in a little late because you've got a packed Sunday, but I appreciate you taking the time. We're talking about how to get promoted. And as you think about those 3 things, I want you to consider that they are not just there to get us a better title, to get us more money at work, to get us to a higher level of the organization, although that is absolutely okay. And if that is what you want, I say go for it. Design your change, right? But we can also be promoted in the way people see us. That they see us as problem solvers, that they see us as people of influence, people of impact, people that are powerful, and people with a voice that deserves to be heard. Wouldn't you love it if when you spoke up at a meeting and had something to say that everybody listened? That they actually went, oh, hold on, what was that? Oh, that was a great idea. This is how you can do it. Understand what's important. Understand what matters to your organization. What is a solution that could help get to that goal? Solve a problem. Be solutions-based. And then finally, make a decision and take action on it. Do it in a way that solves a problem, and you are going to knock it out of the park. So that's it. Oh, Donna says asking forgiveness, not permission, is my life motto. You go, Donna. I'm telling you, I spent years asking for permission. I'm not saying that you need to go out and do massive things that could totally decimate your company's reputation. I'm not saying that, so don't take that out there. What I am saying is that when you see a problem and you take action to solve it, that elevates you in the eyes of the leaders in your organization, in that company, in that whatever it is. You're solving a problem. You're not taking action to make yourself look good. You're taking action to solve a real problem. And if it's a problem that's actually bothering that person in charge and you solve it, guess what? We all love when somebody does something that takes away our pain. So you are going to be more influential. You're going to be more respected. You are going to be listened to more when you do those things. That's it. I cannot wait to hear how you get promoted, where your influence expands. Where are you more powerful? Where is your voice louder than it's ever been? I want to know how this helps you. And if you've got some tips and suggestions for the rest of the people who are watching this, even for me, I'd love to know. What are some of the things that you've seen that either helped you to be promoted or have that you as a person of influence have looked for in the people that you're working with to say, hey, I'd love to bring you up. Carol mentioned a little earlier, being intentional about these things is the key. And it's true. You're not going to accidentally be a solution finder. It takes some intentionality to find solutions. You're not going to accidentally understand the big picture for whatever arena you're trying to make a difference in. That takes some thought, that takes some effort. You're not going to accidentally make a decision and take action to solve a problem. It doesn't happen. There are so many people surrounding us, that surround you, wherever it is that you're trying to be promoted. There are so many people who accidentally every day just let things happen. When you become intentional about adding value using some of these tools, it's going to make a big difference. So with that said, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Mwah! Goodbye.